Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star Part 277 based on novel. So let's start. All six of them, Dear Bugmaster, the three Universe Masters from Divine Eye Clan, Liu Ju Master and Luo Feng remained silent, but no one retreated. You've got to be kidding. Perhaps many things would go through their minds when they just started to make choices, but once they had made their decisions, why should they flinch? From the moment they took their first steps on the path of a great being, death and crises were never far away. Perhaps they might die with much unwillingness, but not a single one would fear death. For the powerful inheritance of this ancient civilization, they would all rather give their best shot to fight for it. Good. Duandong River nodded. Follow me. Duandong River turned and walked toward another side door of that foggy hall. Hua. The side door automatically opened. Duandong River walked in. Although Dear Bugmaster, Luo Feng, Shadow Dust Master, and the other three great beings all had doubts about where they were heading, they still followed his lead. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** moment before they were completely blocked by a floodgate. Duandong River continued walking until he was standing right before the floodgate. Then he stopped. Wait a little while. The floodgates will open, and you all will continue along this corridor. Duandong River's gaze scanned Luo Feng and company. So long as the 6 of you are able to walk all the way down this corridor in a straight line and make it to the next hall alive, you will be considered to have passed the most basic level of the selection process and can start to get connected to the inheritance. Inheritance. All 6 of them, including Luo Feng, Deer Bug Master, and Shadow Dust Master, made a shudder as their eyes lit up. So long as they could walk all the way down this corridor and make it to the next hall alive, they would be considered to have passed the selection process and start getting connected to the inheritance. They were all very excited, but all 6 were also aware that Duandong River's inheritance was very powerful, so the selection process would not be simple. Meaning to say, this corridor would truly be a death corridor. And amongst them, there would likely be someone who would be annihilated. Everyone had to give their utmost best. 6 of you. As you make your way down this corridor, you can use your weapons, and you can use every technique and method you know, Duandong River instructed slowly. All you have to do is to make it to the next hall alive. Duandong River turned to look at the floodgate and pointed to it. Raise it. Hua. The heavy, large floodgate rose slowly, revealing a wide, deep passageway that seemed to have no end. This made Deer Bug Master, Luo Feng, Liu Ju Master, and the other 3 all frown. What dangers awaited them within this death corridor? What methods had Duandong River, from a great ancient civilization, deployed for his selection process? Once they failed the selection process, they would have to face the danger of death. The easiest stage of the selection process was the one before them now. All they had to do was to stand on a Magicube instrument for a short while. If they did not pass, they could leave right away. You. 5 of you, go in. Duandong River pointed at 5 great beings. Us. Me. All 5 of us go in together. There was an uproar. All 5 of them, Deer Bug Master, Liu Ju Master, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and Golden Square Master, registered shocked expressions. Duandong River had pointed at the 5 of them and asked them to go in together. Shadow Dust Master pointed at Luo Feng and could not help asking, what about him? What about Milky Way Horde leader, Luo Feng? Deer Bug Master and the other 4 started to get a little unsettled. They could not doubt or change Duandong River's decision, but during the screening by the Magicube instrument earlier on, they had noticed Duandong River revealing a trace of a smile when it was Luo Feng's turn. At that time, they had found it suspicious. Furthermore, among them, Luo Feng's cultivation period was the shortest, at only a dozen eras. Was that not substantially short? The 5 of you will go in together, and he will go in alone, Duandong River said coldly. Why? Are you unwilling to? Then leave. Now, you are still able to leave this place alive. If you do not leave, the 5 of you must quickly make your way in. If you don't enter, you may be disqualified. Deerbug Master, Liu Master, and the three great universe masters of Divine Eye Clan looked at one another, then took one glance at Luo Feng. Let's go. Let's go. 5 figures entered the corridor at the same time. Hua. The heavy and wide floodgate lowered with a loud crash. The corridor was sealed once again. By the entrance of the floodgate, only Duandong River and Luo Feng remained. Duandong River looked at Luo Feng. Once you enter, there will be no chance for retreat. Luo Feng nodded, but many thoughts were rising in his mind. The other 5 went in together, but he was to enter alone. Why was he so special? Could it be Duandong River really looked at him in a different light, or was there a special form of danger awaiting him? Was this a blessing, or a curse? Asterisk 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 asterisk. Within the corridor, Deerbug Master, Liu Master and the 3 great universe masters of Divine Eye Clan looked behind them at the floodgate that was once again lowered. Their expressions were slightly different than before. The situation does not look promising, Shadow Dust Master said in a shrill voice. His eyes flashed with a murderous glint. If an heir was to be chosen, then considering someone like Luo Feng, who has cultivated for only a dozen eras to attain such high achievements to those like us, who have cultivated for close to 3 reincarnation eras to attain such high achievements, only a fool would not choose Luo Feng. I suspect that the weird Magicube instrument test was not only testing our blood lineages and life characteristics, it was most possibly detecting our lifespans, too. The 5 of them were shocked. That was right. No one knew what that weird instrument actually screened them for. It must have detected some unique characteristics. Shadow Dust Master laughed coldly. If not, why would Duandong River let out such a rare smile? Apparently, he must be very satisfied with Luo Feng. But why? I think the instrument must have detected that Luo Feng has only lived for a dozen eras and has the shortest period of cultivation. Such an outstanding talent with an extremely short period of cultivation, even to the 3 reincarnation eras, he is unbelievable. Even if we were to compare him within the ancient civilization, I think he would still be phenomenal. With such an extraordinary talent appearing to inherit his legacy, of course he would be greatly pleased. Thus, the differential treatment. Right. True. That is highly possible. One by one, they spoke their minds. Even Deerbug Master nodded in agreement. They were all of high positions and were clear that when it came to choosing disciples, there would never be absolute fairness. Once they set their eyes on a certain disciple, during any selection process, they would always give differential treatment. But what else can we do? Now that the 5 of us have to go through this corridor together, there is no way we can plant accidents along Luo Feng's way. Golden Square Master shook his head. I think Duandong River must have thought about that. That's why he separated Luo Feng from us. Even if we had any plans in mind, we will not be able to execute them now. Deerbug Master shook his head. Let's go. Let's not think further. This is the inheritance Duandong River left behind. We can only act according to his wishes. We can find another opportunity to deal with Luo Feng. Right now, there is simply no chance at all. We can only move forward from here. This death corridor. There is a possibility we might not even be able to make it through. Breaking through the death corridor, everything can be used. Deerbug Master, with your supreme true treasure, you have a much greater chance. Humph. Deerbug Master said no more and flew ahead right away. Liu Master also transformed into a streak of light and flew ahead. The other 3 from the Divine Eye Clan looked at one another, nodded slightly, and also continued advancing down the corridor. The only advantage to being part of Divine Eye Clan was that the 3 of them were of one heart. With joined hands, they would not be the least bit bothered even if they had to fight against someone like Deerbug Master. Asterisk 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 asterisk. At the other side of the floodgate, Luo Feng could also vaguely guess that Duandong River's method would have caused the other 5 universe masters to start targeting him as their enemy and treating him with hostility. They would see him as the greatest threat when it came to the inheritance. Hong. A strong wave was faintly transmitted from the other end of the floodgate, and Luo Feng could not resist turning over to take a look. He could only see that heavy floodgate. Next up, bouts of energy waves were transmitted over in a continuous stream. Apparently, some dangerous life-and-death situation was happening deep within this death corridor. Lord Duandong River, why would I be separated from the other 5? Luo Feng suddenly asked. Duandong River stood with his eyes closed, his entire being seemed to become an iceberg emitting cold air. Hearing Luo Feng's question, he opened his eyes and replied, "You only need to follow my instructions. Do not question why I decided on such a selection process. If you are displeased, you may leave. If you choose to leave now, you can still have the chance to live." With that, he closed his eyes again. Luo Feng could only put up with everything that he was asked to do. **************. The Skeleton Clan was a pinnacle clan from the first reincarnation era. Within the vast universe ocean, there was a total of 4 miniature universes. Within the first miniature universe, 4 towering figures were scattered in 4 different directions. In midair, they looked at one another. These were the 4 Devil Masters from the Skeleton Clan. Red Lark Master stood in midair deferentially as he reported what he knew to the 4 towering figures. "This was our personal encounter, Jittery Seas and mine. That was indeed a terrifying inheritance. An inheritance of a super great being named Duandong River *****Wu, who was from the ancient civilization. This Duandong River ****Wu, based on my speculation, must be a great existence that was only second to a so-called general from endless reincarnation eras ago, even before the completion of Universe Boat. His inheritance was definitely something major, and from the descriptions of it, throughout the entire ancient civilization, every generation will only have one heir for this Duandong River inheritance." "Jittery Sea," said a towering figure. "Is that true?" Jittery Sea Master, who was standing to the side, also replied deferentially, "Yes, that is the truth. The 2 of us were eliminated right from the very first stage of selection. The reason was simply because we do not belong to the same clan, so we do not qualify for the inheritance. Red Lark, whatever the 2 of you experienced, simulate a part of the memory you have into a projection for us." The 4 Devil Masters of Skeleton Clan were extremely solemn. This matter seemed very serious, even when heard in summary. It was clearly a great deviation from the norm. "Yes." Red Lark Master replied deferentially. A 3-dimensional projection appeared in midair. From the moment they charged into the boat of Mausoleum, the projection started to play. They saw images of Duandong River appearing within the hall and saying those words, and they started to get emotional. Then there was the inheritance, one line from Duandong River, "Not from my clan, and yet you wish to inherit something from a pulse on my Duandong River? Dream on. Get lost." These words sent chills into the hearts of the 4 Devil Masters. How loathsome. Such an opportunity, but, because of those 3 beings from Divine Eye Clan, we cannot enter. Loathsome. The 4 Devil Masters also let out ferocious roars. All were clearly furious. "Spread this," a hoarse voice shouted. "Let the news be spread to the 3 great reincarnation eras and the 2 Holy Land universes. Spread it to them all. Let the whole of Universe Ocean know. Let great beings from all over gather here. We must create chaos within the boat of Mausoleum so that we can destroy Duandong River's inheritance. In short, so long as there is chaos, we Skeleton Clan stand a chance. Even if we have no chance, we can destroy it and deprive the Divine Eye Clan of their chance. The Divine Eye Clan and the Skeleton Clan are arch-enemies sharing endless hatred for one another. We cannot give them such a great advantage. Spread the news." The other 3 Devil Masters roared furiously, all in extreme rage. Without hesitation, they started transmitting the news to various groups of powers within the entire Universe Ocean. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* inside the boat of mausoleum. Luo Feng stood at one end of the floodgate, feeling the bouts of energy waves transmitted from the depth of the corridor, yet he was clueless as to what was happening inside. Huh! Duandong River suddenly opened his eyes, then whispered, "One annihilated. 4 left." Luo Feng was shocked. He involuntarily glanced at Duandong River. 1 annihilated. The 5 universe masters in there were all extremely powerful. The three from the Divine Eye clan were all of one mind, one heart. Dear Bug Master had a supreme true treasure that he kept close to him. Liu Ju Master was the most difficult to kill out of all plant life forms. Luo Feng took one look at Duandong River, who was still standing at the same spot with his eyes shut. Although Luo Feng wanted to inquire about something, he decided to give up on that thought. It would be a futile attempt. Another was annihilated, Duandong River suddenly said. Left with 3. Luo Feng's heart lurched. This life and death corridor was much too dangerous. Those universe masters who dared break deep into its internal domain, how impressive they were. Even if universe supreme masters were thinking of annihilating them, they could not be this fast, right? In the blink of an eye, 2 more were annihilated. Dear Bug Master is the most powerful. The 3 from Divine Eye clan are of one mind and one heart. And Liu Ju Master is a 5th-tier universe master and also a plant life form. Compared to the 3 of them, I am the weakest. Now, out of 5, 2 have been annihilated. What if I were to go in? Luo Feng frowned as he started to worry. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Jittery Sea Master, Red Lark Master, and Giant Rock Master were standing at the cabin door entrance. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master had both sent their other bodies back to their clan to make a report. As for Rock Giant Master, of course, he too would be making arrangements to send his other body back to where his group of power was to make a report. No. Rock Giant Master's massive body trembled. Liu Ju. Rock Giant Master suddenly let out a hoarse shout. His crazy voice was filled with anguish. Peng. He fell to his knees heavily, and his knees smashed the sturdy floor tiles at the cabin door area of the boat of mausoleum as both his hands grasped the edges of the ground. His implacable emotions could not be held back. His raving roars and strange yowls were high-pitched and mournful. There were also shouts that expressed complete hysteria, and Rock Giant Master's godly body trembled and contorted. Beside him, Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master were taken aback. Both looked at Rock Giant Master in his state of hysteria, then back at one another. Liu Ju Master must have been annihilated. Yes, I guess she must have been annihilated. It is said that wherever Liu Ju Master is, there will be Rock Giant Master, always. For countless years, close to 3 reincarnation eras, Rock Giant Master had been silently following Liu Ju Master. It seems he has very deep feelings for her. The moment Liu Ju Master got annihilated, Rock Giant Master went crazy. The two, on the other hand, were gloating over Liu Ju Master's misfortune. Both of them were unable to receive the inheritance, but so what? If they had been able to go and try to receive the inheritance, they would still have faced the fate of annihilation. Rock Giant Master was still letting out crazy roars while waving his 8 arms about. Fist after fist crashed heavily against the ground. Peng. 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 The heavy impacts of the crashes brought a faint quake to the ground. As the floor of the boat of mausoleum was incomparably sturdy, even Universe Supreme Masters would not be able to bring harm to it, much less the fists of Rock Giant Master. Insane, heavy punches smashed about until the surfaces of the 8 fists started to shatter and crack. Inheritance. That detestable inheritance was what killed you. Revenge, revenge, revenge. Rock Giant Master was howling in pain. I'm going to destroy this inheritance. I'm going to destroy it and kill the heir who wins it. Kill them. Duandong River. Duandong River, it's all because of you. It's your fault, it's your fault. I am going to cut off your inheritance, sever it. I will avenge Liu Ju. Soon after, Rock Giant Master turned about suddenly and charged toward the control room of the boat of mausoleum. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master laughed coldly as they stood aside and watched everything with indifference. Crazy. Rock life forms are really set in stone. How rigid their minds are. And it is starting to go crazy. Merely a short moment later, Rock John Master's massive figure returned. Can't cross over anymore, can't cross over anymore. Rock Giant Master shook his head. His eyes were filled with sorrow and anguish. I told you that I will always be with you. My doomsday is nearing, but you were annihilated before me. Liu Ju. Rock Giant Master slumped into a corner at the cabin door entrance with a loud bang. There he sat, leaning against the wall wordlessly. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master felt a little fearful, so they moved further away and walked into the public square of the hall, not daring to be near to Rock Giant Master. Outside the floodgate of the corridor, Luo Feng stood where he was silently and could subtly feel the energy waves. Suddenly, the energy waves stopped. Luo Feng felt a constriction in his heart. Duandong River opened his eyes and gently nodded. Still all right. Just too dead. Then he turned to look at Luo Feng. You, go in. Following his voice, that wide and sturdy floodgate that was shut earlier started to rise with a rumble again, revealing that deep corridor. At the end of the corridor, there was not a single figure. This made Luo Feng all the more fearful. Even with the 5 of them moving together, 2 were dead. For him to act alone, would it be a blessing or a curse? Either you give up, or you move forward. Duandong River cast a look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng returned Duandong River's look and, without further hesitation, flew in. The gigantic floodgate behind him lowered with a loud crash. Then it was sealed again. No chance of backing out now. Luo Feng took one look at the floodgate behind him, then lifted his head to look deep into the corridor. I would like to take a look at what this life and death corridor has that could annihilate 2 out of the 5 of them. He transformed into a beam of light and moved forward at high speed. The corridor ran deep. Sometimes it became narrower, other times it widened. Flying for a short moment, his path ahead seemed to get even darker. Within the deep, hazy passageway, Luo Feng's eyesight still allowed him a clear vision of his surroundings. Luo Feng frowned and stopped to hover in midair. Not far ahead, a tall figure lay on the ground. His body resembled that of a human. There was a large amount of hair on his head and neck like a lion. His neck was thick and strong, and both his eyes were shut. Half the surface of his godly body was protected with a layer of black armor, and when Luo Feng appeared, that tall figure suddenly sat up and opened both his eyes. With both eyes emitting faint red light, it stared at Luo Feng. All you have to do is to survive Kueyo's blows. An ice-cold voice sounded by Luo Feng's ears. He recognized the voice right away. It was Duandong River. You cannot hide in your palace or such true treasures. If that is the case, then I have no choice but to eliminate you. You must meet the battles head-on. Hiding within palace-type true treasures is not allowed. Other than that, all other weapons can be used. 2 out of the 5 were annihilated at the hands of Kueyo earlier on. I hope that you will survive. The seated figure suddenly stood up. He had a body that was more than 100 kilometers tall and eyes that were ice-cold, exuding an endless, murderous aura. The corridor was approximately 6,000 kilometers wide, which was enough for combat. I must meet the battles head-on. Luo Feng descended slowly. He looked at that strange existence with the name of Kueyo from afar. Why did Duandong River call it Kueyo? From endless eras ago until now, for it to remain, it most likely is not a life form. Roar. Die. The monster, Kueyo, let out a roar and charged over in big strides. It transformed into a streak of light, and before Luo Feng knew it, it had already arrived before him. Luo Feng also followed suit and acted immediately. This monster, Kueyo, left here by Duandong River, could annihilate 2 universe masters. Of course, Luo Feng would not dare to be careless. The moment he arrived, he was prepared to fight with all he had. He entered the state of the heart of Beast God right away. With a loud howl, he charged ahead. At the same time, his strongest right arm transformed into 5 gigantic golden blades, which he waved about while howling. It was as though 5 battle blades were hacking down at the same time. Third form of crazy demon extermination, godly armor, extermination god. Monster Kueyo's head was mercilessly hacked, and its entire being seemed to become a sandbag struck into rotary motion. It was thrown backward, where it landed heavily, smashing the ground of the corridor with a great tremor. Luo Feng was taken aback for the moment and did not follow closely after Kueyo to continue with his attacks. What? This? Luo Feng was shocked. This is the standard of what killed 2 universe masters. What a joke. Those 5 were extraordinary. To kill 2 out of 5 of them, at least the power of a universe supreme master would be required. And since he was only at the 4th tier before he arrived, Luo Feng had already made plans. The moment he arrived, he would use his trump card. Then he would go along with the collision force during their exchange of blows to make use of its strength. Borrowing this force, he would make an urgent retreat. Through this very first blow, he would determine the capability of his opponent. Then he would be able to devise detailed plans. But in reality, after a single strike, Monster Kueyo was beaten right away. Without any power to resist, Luo Feng, who had initially intended to borrow force for his urgent retreat, was dumbstruck in midair. What is happening? Why is it so weak? When it received 1 claw from me just now, the power that it displayed was so weak that even a universe master would be able to trample on it. Luo Feng was filled with doubts but hesitated no further. In a flash, he charged toward Kueyo. Monster Kueyo was already roaring as it rose to its feet, once again roaring, "Die, die, die." Like a flash of lightning, Luo Feng struck it at a frighteningly fast speed. There was no way Monster Kueyo could have defended himself. Right away, the blow struck his neck, causing Monster Kueyo to fall flat on his face and crash to the ground with a loud bang. What is going on? Luo Feng used both legs continuously to execute a strongest secret technique, cracking gold. 2 dazzling golden boots of light kicked at the back of Monster Kueyo's head, causing its face to kiss the ground twice with rumbling sounds. Roar! Monster Kueyo's big, thick hands pushed against the ground to flip itself around so that it could stand up. Luo Feng looked up in midair with furrowed brows. Its body is quite strong. My attacks left no trace of injury on it at all. However, its ability is too weak. Although he could not make any sense of this, if his opponent was weak, it would be his chance to trample hard on it. Luo Feng transformed into a beam of light and instantly made his way to where Monster Kueyo was. Monster Kueyo was roaring while waving his fists, yet Luo Feng grabbed onto him swiftly and sent him crashing onto the ground. Being trampled upon repeatedly, Monster Kueyo was sent sprawling on the ground or thrown against the walls of the corridor. The hair at the back of its head was grabbed by Luo Feng, who used it as a means of swinging it against the walls. For a period of time, Luo Feng moved at the speed of lightning. Repeatedly, he trampled upon Monster Kueyo. Although he was doing the trampling, Luo Feng still remained vigilant. Every single time he attacked, he made sure that he was prepared to respond to any possible violent outburst from his opponent. His power is soaring. Apparently, it is on the rise. During the trampling process, Luo Feng increasingly felt that something bad was going to happen. He could sense that the power Monster Kueyo was displaying was continuously increasing from a senior universe knight, to a 2nd-tier universe master, to a 3rd tier, a 4th tier. Its power was soaring with the passage of time. Where it started off easy for Luo Feng to trample on Monster Kueyo, he started to find it more and more difficult to do the same. Especially at this very moment, when Monster Kueyo had almost attained the 5th-tier universe master standard. Luo Feng and Kueyo would be on par with one another when it came to fighting. Yet Monster Kueyo's power was continuing to rise and surge. Luo Feng rolled and collided into the walls of that corridor. Then, instantly, it vanished. Monster Kueyo's terrifying kick crashed into the wall. Already at the 5th tier, Luo Feng was forced into a tight corner. If its power continues to rise, won't it progress to the 6th tier? Or to a Universe Supreme Master? The Monster Kueyo didn't know any techniques. All it had was speed and strength. When one's strength was strong enough, laws would back down. Kueyo was an example of this. His fist could easily twist space and time, and turning it into a gleaming beam of light. This light could easily annihilate an entire solar system with a simple ripple. A huge golden claw scratched the fist. It's stronger. Luo Feng turned his body. He followed the strength, yet he couldn't walk straight. He hit the wall like a phantom, and the shockwave from his godly body immediately penetrated the wall. The foot slammed into Luo Feng's chest and pressed him against the wall. The great shockwave made him tremble. Luo Feng clenched his teeth and tried to run away. At the same time, the godly power from his golden horned beast body was transferred into the original earthling body to make it back to the best situation. This monster Kueyo's power is surging too fast. It's approaching the 6th level. Luo Feng felt helpless. He could only reach the 4th level with the help of crazy demon extermination godly armor, and he could barely fight a 5th level universe master. However, the monster Kueyo was more terrific than 5 chaos master. He was being crushed. It consumed 8% of my godly body in such a short time. I can't let this go on anymore. Luo Feng turned his head and roared. Kueyo roared and rushed to right in front of him. A glowing white wing showed up, and under the strong godly power, a golden glow permeated. The light covered an area of nearly 1,000,000 square kilometers. The powerful binding power slowed Kueyo. Luo Feng's wing trembled, and he retreated. Duandong River only indicated that we can't use palace-type true treasures. Luo Feng opened Silver Wing. His excitement was building. Shawu, we haven't fought together for a long time. Howl. The monster Kueyo was furious. Its roar twisted space, and the shockwave slammed into Luo Feng. But he didn't move at all. The shockwave dissipated. The monster Kueyo dashed at Luo Feng again. With Shawu Wing, I'm not so easy to mess with. Luo Feng's silver wing trembled, and his body started to look bizarre. He started to fight the monster Kueyo in close quarters. With the help of Golden Country, his most powerful technique, Extermination God, could reach the 5th level. This made him nearly on par with Kueyo. They fought closely again. The monster Kueyo charged recklessly, but Luo Feng produced many phantoms. Luo Feng bounced away with the 4 wings covering his body. His power is still surging. Top of the 6th level? Or a Universe Supreme Master? Luo Feng couldn't tell anymore, but he could sense that Golden Country's influence on Kueyo was withering away. Kueyo's power frightened Luo Feng. He was being crushed. Even though Kueyo was bound by Golden Country, he was still much stronger than Luo Feng. Luo Feng was hit in the chest before he could dodge the attacks. The power of Kueyo horrified him so much that he needed Shawu Wing just to protect himself. He couldn't resist it, but he couldn't run away either. Luo Feng was like a sandbag being kicked and punched by Kueyo. Against Kueyo, Golden Country was as negligible as thin air. He must be as powerful as a Universe Supreme Master now, muttered Luo Feng. Even Universe Supreme Masters need true treasures to wield such power, yet he's using his bare body. Luo Feng covered his body with the silver wing. I may be killed. Should I get into Star Tower? He wondered. Star Tower can definitely resist the attacks, but I'll be eliminated if I enter. I have to stand it, he decided. Withstand it. Withstand it. Just when Luo Feng was rendered in agony and being kicked, beaten, and smashed, Kueyo suddenly stopped. Luo Feng looked at Kueyo, confused. He was floating in the sky. Why did he stop? The monster Kueyo sat down and closed its eyes. You've passed this round. Continue. It was the voice of Duandong River. Luo Feng was relieved. Finally, he passed this round. He looked at the monster Kueyo who was lying there, not moving, then flew forward. After a short while, he saw a door. As Luo Feng flew closer, the door closed immediately. Huh! Luo Feng saw 3 shadows. You survived. Sorcerer Sprite Master was surprised. Shadow Dust Master sneered. Milky Way Horde Leader, you survived that monster all by yourself. I do admire that, dear Bug Master said with a smile. It seemed that Golden Square Master and Liu Ju Master were the ones who had died. Luo Feng hadn't expected a plant life form like Liu Ju Master to die. Why did 2 of you die? Luo Feng was shocked. That monster is not that powerful. Shadow Dust Master sneered. The one you met is not that powerful. If you met one like the one we met, you would have died. How did you meet him? Luo Feng couldn't help asking them. Dear Bug Master said, the monster Kueyo we met was not very powerful at the start. However, As the fight went on, it grew stronger and stronger. Its power reached that of a universe supreme master in no time, and it kept surging. It might be more powerful than all the universe supreme masters I've ever seen. One punch from it did major damage to our bodies, exclaimed Deer Bug Master. Liu Ju Master wasn't able to dodge it, so he was killed instantly. He didn't even have a chance to take out his palace-type true treasure to save his life. As for Golden Square Master, he died as well, as he didn't cooperate well with Shadow and Sorcerer. Fortunately, it stopped soon after. Otherwise, Shadow and Sorcerer would have died as well. Humph! Shadow Dust and Sorcerer Sprite sneered. Luo Feng was shocked. Something was wrong. The monster Quayo they met was more powerful than the one he had met. The monster had started with the power of a 4th-level universe master. On the contrary, Quayo had only started with the power of a senior universe knight when it met him, and it had stopped when it reached the power of a universe supreme master. A figure appeared. It was Duan Dong River. "You are the only 4 left," he said. Deer Bug Master, Luo Feng, Shadow Dust Master, and Sorcerer Sprite Master all gazed at him. Duan Dong River said coldly, "That was only a small test, yet 2 of you died. That's only a part of the corridor. You need to arrive at the next hall to receive the inheritance. Keep moving." Duan Dong River pointed to the front. It appeared there was still a long way to go. They were all terrified. That had only been a part of it. Their only choice was to keep going. They flew carefully, moving more slowly. Luo Feng frowned. In the virtual universe, in front of Huge Axe Godly Palace, Luo Feng appeared. There were universe masters sitting beside the stone table. Huge Axe glanced at him. "Luo Feng." Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City leader, said. "We just got the news from the skeleton race about Duan Dong River from the first universe era. We hear that you are one of the 6 seeking the Duan Dong River inheritance." "What is it about Duan Dong River?" asked Huge Axe creator. The other great beings all looked at Luo Feng, anxious. Although they had received the news from the skeleton race, they didn't know much about it. "I'll show you all." Luo Feng pointed to the sky and shared all his memories, from flying into Boat of Mausoleum to seeing Duan Dong River in the control room of Boat of Mausoleum to assessing the Magicube instrument, to fighting the monster Quayo. He played all of them, but he cut out the part where he performed Shi Wu Wing. The great beings all went silent. Luo Feng nodded. "So, this is the case. The Duan Dong River Wu inheritance is an inheritance of an ancient civilization. It's a great opportunity, but it's also extremely dangerous. There will only be one inheritor, and we might all fail. Although this is only the beginning start, there are only 4 of us left. This is an opportunity for us humans. I need to take it." Luo Feng looked at Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader. Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader both nodded. He was right. Both Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader knew that Luo Feng was most suitable for this. Luo Feng was a universe knight, so he could be revived if he died. Although he might lose some true treasures, his law comprehension, techniques, and willpower would still be there, so his power could be recovered quickly. "Luo Feng, try to get the inheritance," said Huge Axe. "Don't be distracted by us. If we have arrangements for you, we'll notify you." "Okay." Luo Feng nodded and disappeared. At the same time, the news also spread to Purple Moon Holy Land, East Emperor Holy Land, and the other powers from all the 3 universe eras. Now, things would only get crazier. Within the vast universe ocean, only the 2 Holy Land universes, namely Purple Moon Holy Land universe and East Emperor Holy Land universe, were able to transcend and survive through the reincarnation era. Yet speaking of the longest history, strongest power, deepest foundation, naturally, the winner was the East Emperor Holy Land universe, which had existed up until now, was still an unknown figure to all. Within the East Emperor Holy Land universe, there was the Endless Godly Sector, a place where 90% of the entire Holy Land universe's undying godly spirits, 99% of its universe knights, all its universe masters, and all its universe supreme masters gathered. The entire place was beautiful and magnificent, peaceful and tranquil. There were countless buildings of different cultural styles, and various rare flowers and plants could be found everywhere. Ang, bang, woo, roar, hush, hi. In the middle of endless godly sector, there was a towering green tree that connected everything within the whole godly sector and was constantly transmitting sounds out in a multidirectional manner to spread the news to all parts of the godly sector. This big tree was ancient and deep green. It was very upright and towering, and all around it, there were many vines that were like jade carvings. When the wind blew, the tree gently swayed along, giving out intermittent bouts of soul-captivating voices. Many figures were currently seated cross-legged under this ancient tree. At one glance, there was seemingly no end to the sea of people. Boom! With a sudden jolt, the entire big tree radiated a dazzling cyan light. Boom! Then the cyan light was transformed into an endless red light. Boom! The towering tree went on to emit an endless black light. Boom! It was transformed into endless blue light. Boom! Last of all was a dazzling golden light. Thereafter, the entire ancient tree was encircled by layers of apertures, 5 layers to be exact, so dazzling and resplendent that at that point in time, the entire endless godly sector could see the tree in this glorious state. Ancestor tree. Ancestor tree has shown its 5-colored light halo. Ancestor will make his appearance soon. Ancestor will make his appearance soon. Ancestor. The moment the numerous godly spirits, undying fighters, universe knights, and even universe masters who were all originally seated cross-legged under the towering, ancient trees saw the 5-colored light halo surging out from the ancestor tree where they were all enveloped in a surrounding so dense with airflow, they were all shocked and excited. There were even some undying godly spirits who immediately burst into loud sobs while others fell to their knees trembling in excitement. Ancestor. East Emperor Holy Land Universe, an existence that had been around for an eternity. Ancestor East Emperor was the supreme being of all living souls within the whole of East Emperor Holy Land Universe. Yet, throughout the endless years that passed, Ancestor East Emperor was practically non-existent, as he almost never appeared. Even many universe masters who lived through many rounds of reincarnations had never seen him in person before, not to mention the world out of Universe Ocean. Beyond Universe Ocean, not a single great being had ever met this ancestor of the 2 Holy Land universes. This was why Ancestor was known as the first great being of Universe Ocean. However, when compared with the ancestor of the 2 Holy Land universes who had long transcended reincarnation, Ancestor East Emperor was still a notch lower. Yet even within the 2 Holy Land universes, it was extremely difficult for them to catch a glimpse of their own ancestors. Even for this ancient East Emperor to make an appearance, the chances were so slim that it was pathetic, and every time he made an appearance, the ancestor tree would display this 5-colored light halo. Ancestor is going to appear soon. Ancestor. Even all the universe masters in their own palaces were shocked and excited. From birth until today, I have lived through a total of 82 reincarnation eras, but not once have I met Ancestor. Ancestor is finally going to appear. A universe master was so excited that he forgot all about his disciples and teleported himself right away to where Ancestor tree was. The last time I met Ancestor was 119 reincarnation eras ago. Ancestor has appeared. Craziness. All of endless godly sector seemed to have fallen into a crazy state. This was the heart of the most ancient Holy Land universe, the very core of their pride. So proud of it were they that they vaguely started to look down on Purple Moon Holy Land universe. And from the size of a Holy Land universe, one could also tell, their East Emperor ancestor was much more powerful than the Purple Moon ancestor. It was an absolute pride, and they highly regarded East Emperor ancestor with utmost admiration. Numerous streams of light appeared and gathered at the bottom of Ancestor tree. Countless great beings floated in midair. Those who dared float in midair were at least universe masters or universe supreme masters. At one glance close to 1,000 beings were in midair, scattered all around Ancestor tree. Each and every one was silently waiting, in full deference, for their almighty ancestor. Ang, bang, woo, roar, hush, hi. An inexplicable voice suddenly sounded loudly. Every great being present was intoxicated by this sound, including the few universe supreme masters. Amidst a strange music, an immensely dazzling figure appeared out of thin air, high up in the sky. It wore a robe that was covered with countless green branches and leaves, and the robe was radiating an intensely hazy cyan light that was rich in vigor and life. The intense cyan-green light shone upon and enveloped the hundreds of millions of great beings waiting and kneeling beneath it, comforting them all. Instantly, those whose injured godly bodies were damaged were completely healed. All the living souls, regardless of whether they were undying or Universe Supreme Masters, gave him their full attention. Then, respectfully, they all shouted in unison, "Ancestor." There was total silence as all the living souls looked up at Ancestor East Emperor with burning gazes. East Emperor looked down at them all. His entire body was bathed in the intense cyan light that seemed to obscure him from clarity. Even the few Universe Supreme Masters and few hundred Universe Masters could feel a supremely oppressive force come over them, albeit an invisible one. I heard that within the universe boat of the three most dangerous lands in the universe ocean, there has been the birth of an inheritance. This is the inheritance of Duandong River Wu, is this true? East Emperor slowly articulated his question. Several hundreds of Universe Masters and Universe Supreme Masters respectfully replied in unison, yes. The news had only reached them a short while ago. There was no way anything that happened within the Holy Land universe could be hidden from East Emperor. This Duandong River Wu's inheritance is a top-notch inheritance within that powerful ancient civilization, East Emperor said. My life. North True Star Master, you shall personally lead a team of 20 Universe Masters, 200 Universe Knights, and 2,000 Undying Fighters and head for that universe boat at the fastest speed possible. Send every member of the team in to fight for that inheritance. Yes, a man in a white robe immediately replied with deference. North True Star Master was an extremely ancient being, and he was a Universe Supreme Master. Of course, his status of a Universe Supreme Master had been attained as early as when he was in the Primal Universe era. He existed in the same era as East Emperor. Yet his miniature universe had fallen into a state of decadence a long time ago, so he was based in the Holy Land universe for daily life. Are there any volunteers? East Emperor looked down. The inheritance can only have one heir. The rest who fail to be the chosen one will be at risk of annihilation. I'm willing. Willing. I'm willing to go. Willing. Almost instantaneously, from the sea of great beings kneeling on the ground, a large number of Universe Knights and undying godly spirits volunteered. As for the Universe Masters in midair, a dozen of them shouted out their willingness. Their number was much smaller because they were, after all, a minority group within the Holy Land universe. Let's leave it to the elders to discuss and finalize a detailed list of names. East Emperor looked down and slowly added, we must finalize the list as fast as we can, so that we can head for the universe boat as quickly as possible. With a force of 20 Universe Masters, 200 Universe Knights, and 2,000 Undying Fighters, we are going for that Duandong River's inheritance. My East Emperor universe must obtain that inheritance. I need that inheritance. Yes, all said in unison, in one voice filled with excitement. East Emperor needed it. This instantly drove the countless great beings beneath him into a feverish state of enthusiasm. It was merely a short moment, just enough for a cup of tea. North True Star Master was on board a dazzling, polygonal black sphere and was advancing at high speed within the universe ocean. I have not set foot in Universe Ocean for a good dozen reincarnation eras. Since I am making my appearance now, I shall make sure that I seize this inheritance for East Emperor Universe. On the same day, when the news reached Purple Moon Holy Land Universe, the equally mysterious Purple Moon Ancestor also made an appearance at long last. He too gave orders to his clan to necessitate the need to obtain that Duandong River's inheritance. Understood. Understood, Ancestor. This inheritance must belong to us, the Purple Moon Holy Land. Dear Bugmaster is already there. We have the greatest advantage. Let's go. According to Ancestor's order, 1,500 Undying Fighters, 150 Knights, and 15 Universe Masters shall rush over as fast as possible. Universe Supreme Masters will be able to rush over there quickly, as their speeds are naturally extremely fast. The two Holy Land universes of the Divine Eye clan were very similar in strength of power. When compared with one another, the result was all the crazier. The avatars of the 7 true masters gathered. This is our only chance. Doomsday is nearing. We must seize this Duandong River's inheritance. The previous complete inheritance that we have obtained, when compared to Duandong Rivers. Obviously, there is a vast difference in status. And from what Shadow Dust and Sorcerer Sprite reported, even after Duandong River's annihilation, the methods he had put into motion after all these years to seek an heir were intimidating and frightening. We can tell a thing or two about how powerful his inheritance will be. I suspect that the inheritance is not restricted to only Universe Masters. It is likely that even Universe Knights and Universe Supreme Masters can be potential heirs. The avatars of the 7 true masters gathered in the void space to discuss with one another. I'm willing to go, 7th true master spoke up. Even if I were to meet with any danger, I have my Palace Supreme true treasure. Besides, I am a Universe Supreme Master. I don't believe that the Duandong River who was annihilated endless reincarnation eras ago is able to leave behind a method so deadly that it can kill me. I will go with 7th. First true master nodded slowly. Instantly, there was an uproar. First true master. Teacher. First true master, how can you be the one going? If all of us should fail, the mission of transcending a reincarnation era has to depend on you. Divine Eye, do not be so reckless. First true master was the most powerful great being of the entire Divine Eye clan. If he were to take the risk and be annihilated in the process, the clan would be in deep trouble. Speaking of power, I am one notch lower than Ancestor. Even if I were to compare with Huge Axe Creator, I might, at most, be on par. First true master sighed. But to achieve a breakthrough of a reincarnation era. 4 countless reincarnation eras, only the ancestors of the 2 Holy Land universes were able to succeed. I cannot even surpass Ancestor, nor Huge Axe Creator. Who am I to even think I can succeed in transcending a reincarnation era? It's just too difficult. This time around, I'm afraid it would be our Divine Eye clan's very last chance. Regardless, Divine Eye, you cannot be so reckless. I will go with 7th. We just need to deploy more Universe Masters and Universe Knights. Yes, 2nd and 7th. We shall place all hopes on you both. Soon, all arrangements were properly in place. The Divine Eye clan had sent 2nd True Master and 7th True Master, and with them, they lead a team of 20 Universe Masters and 100 Universe Knights in their quest for the inheritance, headed for the Universe Boat. To the Divine Eye clan, this had become a desperate fight arising from jealousy over whose clan was more superior. Groups of powers were indeed going crazy for the inheritance, especially the first reincarnation era, as they were originally in the face of impending doomsday. The second reincarnation era and primal universe were also coveting it. This was probably what the line "a man who does not have foresight will find worry right at his doorstep" meant. This so-called Duandong River's inheritance, if they were to miss it this time, would likely not reappear again for at least the next few reincarnation eras. If the various groups of powers knew that the ancestors of the 2 Holy Land universes had made appearances just to give orders for this inheritance, it would probably drive nearly 100 groups of powers from the 3 great reincarnation eras into an even higher state of fervor. This video will end here.